Hello and welcome to this BioProcess International Ask the Expert webcast. I'm your host, Leah Rozan, the online editor for BioProcess International. Before we get started, just a couple of notes. This webcast is being recorded and will be made available for replay in the multimedia section of our website. We've muted the audio lines, but we welcome you to type in your questions for our speaker, and after the presentation, we will answer your questions. Your questions and the question and answer window will only be visible to myself and our speaker. So thank you for joining us today. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Eric Isberg from Purillex.
Thank you, Leah. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's presentation. Our agenda will begin with an introduction to Purillex and our fluoropolymer container technologies. I will then discuss key attributes of bottle design that ensure container closure integrity. After this, I will describe a case study about the use of carbon dioxide ingress testing for bottles used for bulk drug storage and shipment. We will end the presentation with a Q&A session. So let's get started. But before we do have a quick question for you. Have you performed CO2 ingress testing on your current containers? So please use your mouse on the screen to select your answer. And I'll give you guys a few more seconds to complete the survey. Okay, I'll wrap the survey up now. And it looks like about 75% of you have not performed CO2 ingress testing on your containers. Purillex is a manufacturer of bioprocess containers made from PFA, FEP, and ETFE fluoropolymers. Our manufacturing facility and clean rooms are in East Prairie, Minnesota, which is located near Minneapolis. We are the inventor of stretch blow mold technology for the manufacture of fluoropolymer bottles. And we are the only supplier of ready-to-use fluoropolymer bottles, vials, jars, and other containers. Fluoropolymers have several distinct advantages, including extremely high purity, very low extractables, thermal stability and a wide range of temperature usability, and unmatched durability and essentially indestructible during use. Because bulk drug substance is often shipped on dry ice, carbon dioxide ingress is a significant risk. This phenomenon can cause a drop in pH of the container contents, causing irreversible harm to the bulk drug substance. Enclosure design is key to ensuring container integrity and in blocking the ingress of CO2. The problem with standard containers is that they use closure seals that are not designed for critical applications like bulk drugs. The closures are commonly made from different materials than the bottle, and the container's enclosures can be damaged during freezing. Bags, on the other hand, are very thin, leading to puncture failures, and carbon dioxide can diffuse through the film during storage on dry ice. Our superior closure design ensures a better seal and better protection of the bottle contents, including a single product contact material for both the bottle and the closure, high precision molded sealing features, and a ferrule style seal, which works even at liquid nitrogen temperatures. This case study involves an FDA-approved manufacturing process at a top biologics manufacturer. They successfully tested our Purillex bottles for a flash freezing process, which involves liquid nitrogen submersion. They were concerned that carbon dioxide could diffuse into their bulk drug containers during shipment on dry ice. Therefore, they performed 2 studies to determine whether closure torque has an effect on carbon dioxide ingress during storage and shipment. Study 1 was used to determine if the closure torque setting has an effect on the carbon dioxide ingress. Each bottle closure was torqued anywhere from 40 to 55 inch-pounds using a calibrated torque wrench. Next, the bottles were then frozen at -80 degrees Celsius for a minimum of 24 hours. The bottles were then placed on dry ice over a 14-day hold period to model their BDS shipping process. As can be seen in this test summary, a lower pH was detected in one of the 12 test bottles. This was an unexpected result in that it did not occur at the lowest torque setting. It was also assumed that torque alone was the primary factor in a successful closure seal. After analyzing the test data, our conclusion was that the standard closure was not sufficiently robust to ensure 100% blockage of carbon dioxide ingress during the 14 days on dry ice. As a result of the testing, a new bottle closure was designed by Purillex, which includes snap-in floating insert, which is integral to the closure design. This new design allows automatic centering during torquing and ensures proper alignment of the closure every time it is used. The original study was therefore repeated using the new closure design. And as you can see on the slide, here's a picture of the closure as well as an exploded view showing the closure components. As can be seen in this test summary, all test bottles pass the criteria of a pH change of no more than 0.1 pH units after the 14-day hold period on the dry ice. Our conclusion was that the new floating closure was robust enough to ensure 100% blockage of carbon dioxide ingress every time it is used. So validation of carbon dioxide ingress is a very important step in the testing of containers used for dry ice shipments. The revolutionary floating closure design in Purillex bottles ensures a better, more consistent seal and yields better protection of the contents during use. That's the end of my presentation, and I'd like to thank you for your time.
Okay. So we do have a couple of questions for you. So why did you choose the torque setting that you chose, and how do you choose a torque setting for a container?
That's a good question. We do, we do choose the torque settings based on the application. So for applications where the product is going to be used for room temperature, for example, we may have a lower torque setting. If the container is going to be used for a longer period of time or a wider temperature range, we may have a higher torque setting. But the important message in this is that we customize the torque setting for the customer's applications. And we do have a laboratory set up here in Eden Prairie where we can do real world testing to show the optimal torque setting that each container needs to have in order to not only survive but thrive in the applications that our customers have.
And speaking of the wider temperature ranges, are there other applications where setting a torque specification is important?
Yes. I recommend setting torque specifications for any application that's below 0. So any cryogenic applications, I think it's very important to do so. There's just too many parameters around the material shrinkage and expansion that occurs during a freezing and thawing cycle. So what we found is, again, beyond the closure design itself, we feel very strongly that a torque setting is an important thing or important step in the validation of the container you're going to use for that type of process.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. As a reminder, you can type in your questions. So if you didn't get a chance to yet, go ahead and do it now, and we can pass your questions along to Eric. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Eric. The recorded version of this webcast will be available for on-demand viewing on our website, and as a registered attendee, you'll receive a follow-up email providing you with a direct link. We look forward to having you join us at future BioProcess International Ask the Expert webcasts. Look for those announcements in your inbox. Goodbye.